to counteract the raid from Chorong. Chorong.
Because the trades were fine for Crazy Raccoon. Were fine for Crazy Raccoon. They have free spot advantage, but spot advantage, but this flank from Quartz off of what, a teleport, maybe what, a teleport, maybe just coming back to through the mega pack. Through the mega pack room, I don't know, but Crazy Raccoon no, but Crazy Raccoon have really stalled out their momentum. Out their momentum. Now the Primal will make space, but will make space, but they need to chase down the kills as well. Chase down the kills as well.
Bubble to separate the heels. Pylon is still Separate the heels. Pylon is still cooking though in the front line. In the front line, high noon for Quartz, sped along. For Quartz, sped along by the speed ring. By the speed ring. Hands on the Winston, but yeah, should be good. Winston, but yeah, should be good. The little cleanse, Symbol's ultimate. Symbol's ultimate. I mean, way late for the time being. Oh! Way late for the time being. Oh, lit from the side. Okay. Side. Okay. Ends up tagging Symbol. Ends up tagging Symbol. Wasn't even looking his direction. In his direction.
Yeah, Crazy Raccoon. Yeah, Crazy Raccoon just chill. They wait out for Olsen. They wait out for Olsen. Now you can set up lip for 6.
Oh, low though. He has to pop the annihilation, but Jumnid's forcing him. But Jumbin's forcing him not to sit in that corner. Has got the mind. Corner has got the minds, but they're happy maybe just to let that. Maybe just to let that annihilation disappear. Disappear. A kill onto Funny Astro. They're going to heal up. They're going to deploy the wall, deploy the rush, deploy pretty. All deploy the rush, deploy pretty much everything they've got. They've even got a high noon. They've even got a high noon coming up for Quartz. Coming up for Quartz, a retreat here for 12. Here for Crazy Raccoon is Jumbin. Raccoon as Jumbin ends up going down and going down and Twisted Minds are rewriting. Are rewriting history. Crazy Raccoon have been failed. have been failed, thrown into the trash. Into the trash. As Twisted Minds in front of their home crowd. Their home crowd have done it. Have done it. It has been an eon. It's been an eon since an EU team has toppled a Korean one. Toppled a Korean one. And against
저희가 실수를 더 많이 해서 이렇게 패배하게 된 것 같습니다. 이렇게 패배하게 된 것 같습니다.
Yeah, we knew. Yeah, we knew that Twisted Mind was very good on Symmetra. Was very good on Symmetra, and we tried to counter it, but that being said, we made a lot of mistakes. We made a lot of mistakes in the process, so I think that was the crucial key moment. Crucial key moment for the lose for the defeat. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
right. So yeah, obviously making the mistakes. Will do that, but what does he think is what does he think is the counter? Like, is there an act counter? Like, is there an actual direct counter to the Symmetra? Counter to the Symmetra? Do you have to take the mirror? Do you have to take the mirror? Like, do you feel like teams are forced? Feel like teams are forced into a mirror match here?
Oh,
Here?
시메트라가 좀 미러 매치를 좀 미러 매치를 좀 강요받을 만큼 그만큼 좀 강한 그만큼 좀 강한 픽이었는지 좀 개인의 좀 의견을 좀 개인의 좀 의견을 좀 묻고 싶거든요.
상대가 그것만 상대가 그것만 했으니까 그걸 잘하기도 하니까 그걸 잘하기도 하니까 저희는 저희 잘하는 거 하고 저희는 저희 잘하는 거 하고자 했던 것 같아요.
I mean, regardless of the meta, regardless of the metas, I think they're just good at it. So they're just good at it. So we try to stick what we are good at. Try to stick what we are good at it. So I think they'll kind of clash. I think they'll kind of clash, but I think that they didn't go through our way. They didn't go through our way.
Right on. But we know you're going
on, but we know you're going to come back with the sheer dominance. With the sheer dominance as he's always had in your region. Is in your region. Is there anything you want to say to your fans? Say to your fans.
이제 그래도 이렇게 패배를 경험하시긴 했지만 그래도 앞으로 더 강한 모습으로 돌아오실 걸 알기 때문에 또 돌아오실 걸 알기 때문에 또 이렇게 지켜봐 주신 또 팬분들 봐주신 또 팬분들께 마지막으로 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
일단 여기 와주신 팬 일단 여기 와주신 팬분들이랑 한국에서 한국에서 열심히 응원해 주시고 있는 팬분들 응원해 주시고 있는 팬분들 늦은 시간까지 봐주셔서 감사하고요. 봐주셔서 감사하고요. 저희는 더 잘해줘서 오겠습니다. 잘해줘서 오겠습니다.
Yeah, thank you for all the fans coming here. Thank you for all the fans coming here cheering for us, and also all the fans watching in TV, especially in this. Watching in TV, especially in this late hour, we we'll try to come back stronger as much as possible. Thank you so much.
And I'm
It's gonna be like an honest game, you know,
Yeah.
like not too many like cheat. Like not too many like cheese or like surprises, like just
We love honest Overwatch.
Yes, sir.
All right. I mean, you guys mentioned them. You are going up against OWCS here. You guys have fought them many times throughout the season. I mean, what's the game? The season. I mean, what's the game plan for this time around? This time around.
I mean, I think like, you know, they obviously like love this Mitra.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. Mitra.
Mhm.
Like, yeah. That hero. And
and their opponents. They struggled to find their footing the last few weeks, but found their identity when it mattered the most. It's Virtus Pro!
And here's a little fun fact. The last time OWCS lost the match was against Virtus Pro, but it was a different meta, a different stake as well. Today, everything is on the line. Let's begin.
Mitch Mersley and Matt Morello back in the booth here, of course, for your second quarter final of the day. OWCS take on Virtus Pro. A rematch here of two teams that are familiar with each other through EMEA. But I tell you what, I mean, OWCS handled these guys comfortably last time they played.
Yeah, and OWCS has handled everybody pretty handily. Every time they have played, big reason why, the guy on your screen right there. I mean, Ziad, you can make a case, best player in EMEA throughout stage 2. Really, him and Labda coming alive on hit scan. It's been a huge difference for this team.
Bizarrely missing in Hangzhou. Now that champions clash, and it definitely hurt the prospects of that OWCS roster there. They had Tread in at tank, and they fell pretty quickly through that competition. This time, though, here in Riyadh, it's been a very, very different story. They struggled to get over GK. It was a 3-2 scoreline at the end of that group decider. And now they get through and they go up against a matchup that for them probably has to...
It's going to be nothing that these teams throw at each other that's going to be something out of nowhere, right? These two teams know each other extremely well. Like Zoe had mentioned, and I know we've seen that matchup as well, depending on where they are in the season. So I think the big thing, though, right, is OWCS. They clearly take that #1 spot from VP in stage 2.
That was the changing of the guard out in EMEA. But here on the ground in Riyadh, Virtus Pro showed us a little bit more depth than they otherwise might have expected from the mat. They tried the sim look. First it was Jaewoo through the regular stage of the EMEA.
Yeah.
Then they brought Icenom in to play that sim. And hearing from Shockwave earlier said, it's not really our style. I feel like we're better off maybe leaning into something a little bit more us. And that has worked for them so far. But quite the foe stands in their way, as you can see. It's a Lijiang Tower first map in this first of 3.
And Lijiang, a very good Symmetra map. So what does OWCS do? They ban Venture right away. They don't want their sim strat from VP. As VP on the other side, they get rid of the Lucio. So taking that out of Kellex's hands, we'll see where they decide to go.
Baptiste in on multiple of these maps. Landon is one of the most dangerous Baptiste players you're going to find out of any of the teams arrayed here in Saudi Arabia. On the OWCS side, there's a lot to look forward to, I think, in general. VP definitely coming to this game as the underdogs. I just want to make that clear to folks at home. OWCS absolutely the favored team, but there's an intangible quality that tends to emerge in these matches between teams that know each other so well. Sometimes the script can be entirely flipped, and on a stage like this, anything could happen.
Dude, OWCS, though, they have been so good. Like, I think you can look at this team with the way they played and everything they have going on, and you can make a case that, like, them and Falcons probably the top 2 in terms of how you think this tournament would go, and I think that would be a dream. They still have some work to do, though, right? They got to kind of get through Virtus Pro here. Twisted Minds also proving.
Of course, OWCS and Twisted Minds have gone head-to-head in some pretty explosive series to date. There are still some North American squads lingering amongst our top 8 teams, and of course, what many would consider the final boss, Falcons, are still licking their lips for a chance to get involved. STC Esports Arena, strap yourselves in for our second quarter final of the day. OWCS take on Virtus Pro.
We'll have VP. Looks like maybe hovering a sim comp here at the start. We'll see if this is what they actually decide to do. It'll be Jaewoo actually making the change here over to the Pharah. And then over on the other side, it's just going to be Kelly.
What?
3. That's a double conk right off the rip. So Kellex on the brig, no speed, obviously. They use it off the rip to get towards the bridge. We'll see here the defense matrix. Yeah, Ziad is pretty far forward.
And this is elementary stuff. Ziad had the defense matrix, but it's just the spacing is inadequate there. Too far ahead. Oh, Jaywoo's threatening more of that environmental kill pressure, but this time Alcancia have to get through a TP and instantly Labda has opened up to the account. He's made his deposits early. Gala taken down, and now he's handled.
And this team, how they play Ziad a lot on the Diva, TP him around the map, and then Checkmate and Lab, it'll just cause chaos. So even after that conk and that first point hold, Virtus Pro only gets 18% out of the point.
And that means it's going to be an even game in a couple of moments. Jaywoo now knows just how threatening it is to fly too close to Lapta's position. And Shockwave finds it out himself firsthand. Railgun connection as Labda has that better positioning, and Virtus Pro opting to take the bridge because they know there's no boot, no conk to deal with. Still line up for him.
So Jaywoo's going to try and find an off angle, right? Put some damage down here and force these players back off the corner and then allow them to get over the bridge.
Jaywoo's managed to wrap around him at this Immortality field being deployed for Alcacia. Lapta doesn't want to get too close to the questing. Field had to be used here by Virtus Pro, and Alcacia made use of theirs a few moments beforehand. And amplification matrix could be a problem. Jaywoo's got into the backside, and there's a barrage. It'll only be a trade. Good reaction there from Labda. Swings around. Railgun connects under the fire. It's still Alcacia half-point control. They back off, almost end that matrix. And now we'll have to give Ziad's mech up with the least, but he's going for a self-destruct. Great disruptor shot from Shockwave, though, means that the pilot cannot get back into the hot seat.
And Kellex uses the rally there towards the end. Was most certainly he was going to save that. A few players down at that moment, so not going to have the rally here. That's a huge opportunity now for
Alcacia, and that's what VP are eyeing up at the moment. Checkmate with the TP over to White Room. Looks like most of Alcacia have been able to follow in there before it was destroyed. Now I'll try and canvas the point with some of these turrets. There is a wall available now for Checkmate. You can throw that at midpoint. Usually seem to play around a TP to the backside. Wall comes up, cutting through the point now. Vortex deployed. Immortality field dealt with by Jaywoo. Shockwave here is just trying to make sure no interlopers would be able to push up into his face. Still point control for VP, but Fixer has fallen. Good disruptor shot there from Labda, and he cleans up Gala. Shockwave just hasn't had a good target to work with you, man.
Yeah, well, it's extremely difficult, right? I mean, there's players TPing behind you to the side. The TP comes down, you don't know if anybody's actually going to go through it. It's like they come through it late. It's very difficult for Shockwave to keep track of where all of these players are coming from on Alcacia. And then if Shockwave's used his slide, I mean, Ziad is going to collapse right on top of you.
Jaywoo has probably his final opportunity to make a big impact in this round if Virtus Pro can't flip the point here. He knows he needs to break that line of sight to Lapta as much as humanly possible, but eventually he just has to throw caution to the wind.
And Matrix here with this overclock as well as they try and move through the side room.
There's the Matrix. Jaywoo putting pressure down. Dangerous though as the overclock comes in and forces him to dump altitude quickly. Lapta's on the hunt. Smell of blood in his nostrils. Jaywoo flattened, has to conk himself across and stays alive. Slow on the healing though of Virtus Pro as Jaywoo's still about half. He needs to go for it anyway. There's an annihilation out in the middle of the field out of the Solar's trying to use it to chase down Alcacia, but he could be in trouble. He's in danger, brought down by the combined forces of Alcacia, and with the rally in play, Alcad braves the storm. Lapta fell, but it's just a footnote. That's a swing on Garden.
And we have seen teams and players struggle to play the Diva. Some of these comps. Feels like Ziad is always able to stay alive, to work his way around in different areas of the map. That time it's an annihilation. It's like an ant matrix coming through there from VP. He loses some armor, but then able to kind of get out of the way, work his way back towards the points. secure it. Poor outcome.
Attention, and Ziad is avoiding him constantly, trying to play around him. Use that defense matrix either on Jay Will up the shockwave. Basically, chase, trying to find a way to.
It's a real trying to split some players off. You're trying to extend. No reason to push on in here without Labda.
Oh,
now you're gonna have to wait again as Landon gets picked by Shockwave. I mean, it would be massive if he's alive here for VP. Labda's been so good on the Sojourn. It looks like potentially a swap here for Ziad. So gonna not match the Ram. Gonna end up going with the Orisa here. So see if he's able to kind of like land some of these spears, knock players back.
If you'll excuse the pun, Matt, this can snowball a little bit because these May walls make it very hard for our Alcacia to stay grouped or stay in a position where they can safely fall back and get Ziad topped up. There's another shot comes in. Shockwave yet again has found his opposite number across the map. What we call a cancel.
3 fights in a row or 3 attempts to get a fight in a row. Just ruined there by Shockwave. 3 railgun shots in a row, take players out, force Alcacia back. And that's going to give them about 50%.
Shockwave looks like he lingered a little bit too close to the front lines. And here it is, out Matrix now, Landon. Likely just employed to keep Ziad standing, but Pistola gets thrown into the blender. Very quickly, they reassert themselves and start their own capture progress.
A lot to work with, though, here for VP. That's an excellent start to the beginning of the round. They get up to about 60%, and then they're going to come back. You can get the Ramatra fighting inside of that orbital ray. Obviously, a lot of displacement from Ziad, but getting the Ramatra inside the orbital ray, using that Nemesis form, cycling into the Annihilation, going to be really difficult to get rid of Estola.
Shockwave with an overclock, trying to make use of this straight away. Hit it immediately. Alcacia fall back around the corner. Pistola bounce forward. He knows he's got some space to occupy here. The Shockwave has done his job. He's given him a way into the point, but now they've got to stick it. Pulsar torpedoes come down here from Gala, trying to keep him standing, and there's a rally in play. Terror Surge thrown out by Ziad. Everyone able to avoid it for the most part, and he's going a little bit low. Immortality filtered by time for Landon. Alcacia still with 5 to work with, but they need to get some damage done, and that's a good start. Kelex is felled. Vasella now with the Annihilation, able to run rush shot over Ziad, and Labda knows he needs to fall and stall as long as he can. A respectable 51% here for Alcacia, but they need to get control of this game.
Honestly, they did a pretty good job battling through a lot of that, right? I mean, they end up using that orbital ray and then into the Annihilation, like I was talking about, with a Blizzard and Rally. And they extend the fight long enough there, Alcacia, where they give themselves a chance to flip it here and make a comeback.
Ziad doesn't like what he sees. Not a checkmate getting picked off. That's their mobility kit. Annihilated at the start of the fight.
And a lot of early pickoffs from VP just kind of ruined Alcacia's round.
Yeah, between Jaywoo and Shockwave, there's a lot of poke potential in Virtus Pro's composition. Compromising position of his Ziad to be in, but he knows he has to go for it. Early ice block drawn out of Jaywoo here, and there's a rally in play for Kelex. That's the pick on the May. Jaywoo was isolated as he emerged from that ice block, and Gala's going to likely be forced off that sideline. Landon's got to be careful, caught inside Vortex thrown down at his feet. There was also a disruptor shot, but he's going to go upstairs, get some pressure down on Gala, finishes off the Juno. And now space is taken by Alcacia. They want to ration some of these ultimates for the longer game, but they have a crack at taking the map 2-0.
In that situation, right, Jay was playing a little bit further up. He takes a lick of damage and then ice blocks. And what Alcacia decides to do is use the rally to push on up. They get that dash as soon as he comes out of the ice block, not able to use like a wall, kind of push his way back. And it's an easy pickoff.
And that's the volatility of having Sojourn in the game. It's really hard to know if you're going to be able to stick around longer or if you'll be chucked down to low health and have to use a defensive cooldown like that. Shockwave wraps around. Overclock here. Gives him a bit of space. The Maywall also lets Virtus Pro get in. Here comes that Terror Surge from Ziad. Waiting on the ice block cooldown, but unfortunately, the duration is just too short of that wind up, and it doesn't seem to matter. Labda finds himself too. Vixer and Shockwave scrabbling for position, but Alcancia have the lead, and they've caught Shockwave in their left room. This orbital ray is pretty underwhelming. The only player that could benefit from it was Vixer, and he instantly is brought to heel. Now it's desperation. Virtus Pro trickle onto the point, but Vistola's forced off. And there you have it. Clean work here on Lijiang Tower. Alcancia had to work for it, but they knew it wouldn't be an easy walkover.
And VP, they try to walk up there, right? Ant Matrix from Alcancia. They throw the Blizzard in. The Blizzard actually is like more focused for like Ziad, but then also trying to move players back. It's a little bit like touching that Ant Matrix, and then Ziad uses the Terror Surge, grips those players in, so you're still getting some damage down through that Ant Matrix. You result in a kill, and then the players on Virtus Pro, they're quite
see what Virtus.pro think is going to give them the edge compositionally as we head into this map. Of course, being the one to choose Gibraltar means that your opponent is likely to choose defense. We'll see Alcacia do have Ziad here on the hazard. Labdor opting for, in the absence of Freya, something a little shorter range in the Cassidy.
Yeah, probably just going to, as they come in, trying to dive, play the cast up here on the high ground. And it will be the hazard here for Ziad. That was kind of like one of the big things. What would he decide to play here on D? No real supply. Surprised with Checkmate still piling the sim as it's available. VP, probably not the comp we're going to see from them.
No, this is the standard hook out of spawn from Roadhog, then switch to a different tank play. Been a long time since players brazenly stood out on the bridge for that very reason. We'll have a look, we'll have a hook, and then we'll head on back.
Yep. See where they decide to go. I imagine it's Hazard, right? If Isognom's in the game and D.Va is gone. So we'll get a good old Hazard head-to-head. It'll just be the difference in terms of the damage dealers, right? Cassidy Sim here versus Tracer Soj.
Here we see some of the issues. Labdor is obviously taking some shots, connected them, but it's pretty minimal damage given the fall off. He's trying to circumvent that by taking his sprint to move a little bit closer, and all of a sudden, things start to look a little bit easier for the Cassidy. Vixer caught out there. Shockwave is in trouble, being chased down there by the Hazard. Ziad's going hunting. He may have overextended somewhat. We'll have to double back on this most likely. But that one pick is enough for now. Taking out the Lucio is massive.
Yeah, that's a really nice angle from Lambda going around there with Kellex being able to protect him. Now it looks like a little bit, though, VP wants to try and force some of that high ground.
Landon just had a Suzu himself there as a slash came in from Isognom, trying to chase down a Kiriko. Landon can TP away pretty safely, and this leaves Virtus.pro pretty far forward.
This is good, though, for VP, right? They've taken control of the top. They're going to have the payload be pushed underneath, and they've actually just kind of bullied Alcacia back to the server room.
Ziad can mantle on top of that building should he choose to do so, but he definitely needs Lambda and Co to soften up the attackers a little more.
Both teams playing for a rush here.
Alcacia don't have great sidelines. They don't really like what they see, and Ziad's starting to get pummeled a little bit. They've got to act quickly, and it's not quick enough. Kitsune rushes exchange over the cart here, and Lambda's looking worse for wear. Isognom chases him down. Virtus.pro find that burst of impetus they were looking for and wash Alcacia away.
I mean, look, you play for high ground there for that exact reason. Love how VP decided to attack that instead of everybody just kind of slowly maybe going up and testing high ground a little bit, then dropping down, moving the payload. You actually have Jwoo just move the payload underneath while you kind of push high, and it forces them back in the server room, and then it puts Ziad in a really tough position, kind of out in the open, not enough cooldowns to be able to survive.
Yeah, the fighting in this area gets interesting because of the jagged wall. The Lambda gets ruined instantly. Cassidy lacks that momentum. Once your opponents are able to dive on you, you really have nowhere to go. And we're never going to win a face-up fight against that Hazard.
And it's a lot of high ground that Alcacia keeps giving up, right? A lot of teams would fight for that ship control over here at the top. They use that Sim TP, get in, get aggressive. They try and use like the Deadeye. And look at the amount of push it's going to allow VP to get.
They've got a lot of progress now, and Isognom can gum up the work, stand in the doorway, hence the TP is required. It's only Lambda that went across so far. They're running out of time. Alcacia, they need to make the gambit here. Isognom tries to go for the downpour. It doesn't pay off. Jwoo realizes he's quite exposed out in the open, and Virtus.pro are trying to fall back here. They've lost Gala in doing so. Jwoo was in absolute no man's land here.
And it's a huge fight. I mean, that would have been like 4 minutes plus, like during 5 minutes, probably even over it, if you're able to get it right there, if you're VP. So you get a hold, and now you get high ground control, something that Alcacia lost early on. They have to be aware, though. Jwoo is still lurking behind.
This ends.
Overclock here. Ziad position pretty far forward. He's going to take some hits from this, but Shockwave might want to find a more juicy target, perhaps. Inside the shuttle they're playing. DP utilized, but Isognom follows them in. Catches Checkmate before he can get away. Sound barrier now committed to the fight for VP. Isognom couldn't benefit from it, but it's fine. Shockwave is caught. There's no escape, and now Alcacia might have a springboard to jump off here. Lambda from the high ground, controls the space well. It's another pick on Fixer. Now that flexibility is starting to dissipate for VP. Where can Isognom go from here? He garnered enough attention to buy time for Jwoo and Gala to make short work of these Alcacia players, but Ziad's still standing. And if they can't topple him, they're not getting a checkpoint.
And it's quite rough that the sound barrier does not connect with Isognom, right? He's up top trying to contest in the ship. sound barrier comes on through. Players from VP move on in, but Icehelm's got no armor left on the Hazard at that time, where no armor. He starts to just crumble rather quickly, and with no sound barrier, he can't follow it up.
Same little engagement early. Ziad doesn't want to give this high ground position for free and allow VP onto the shuttle, but they have fought for that territory. Now Katsia likely want to try and group up. TP is going to get checkmate out of trouble now with Dedo for the high ground. Lapta cancels it though. Lapta cancels it though. Set up for the reload. Danger. Position there for Fixer, drops down in front of Labda, who's unaffected by the downpour apparently. Checkmate though, not nearly so lucky. Now around the card, that's a stick, and that was dangerous. Ziad almost carried that into the rest of his team. Jagged Ball thrown up to try and give him some space, and Langdon desperately trying to keep him standing, but Jaewu was looking for a reload, and Spike Guard takes the Tracer out. But Shockwave found his enemy hit scan. Checkmate has to be careful, but he's going to commit. What a connection with those right clicks, and he'll finish the job. Again, Alcatsia have to work for it.
And Landon is able to keep Ziad alive through all of that, which is just crazy to me, because Ziad is just jumping basically across the point a few times, extremely low health, just kind of working with Landon, and those two have been a formidable combo in EMEA. As now you got Rush and Downpour. Jay takes a lot of damage, going to force recall here early.
Ziad's playing further forward than normal, Matt. Was right up in that choke and bought some time. We're now down to 1 minute left for the attackers, and Ziad's sitting on a Downpour. Knows again that top shuttle will be taken by Virtus.pro, and he's looking for the players that have been left behind or are straggling behind the main pack. Icehelm drops down. Going to be a fight here on the low ground. A TP might get Alcatsia around, but they're going to have a wall in play. Shockwave hindered here with the flashbang. Forced to back away. Reposition now, and Gala joins him, but they're not really in the fight properly. And Landon steps up. A little bit risky, a little bit optimistic from him. He will need to peel back a little bit. Icehelm on the high ground, trying to command the space, and Checkmate peers in over the top. And there's a sound barrier that's going to make it harder to crack through these VP players. Alcatsia, though, had one of their own. Now both overshields have dissipated. Jaewu trying to move up the card, but the numbers are here for Alcatsia now. And Icehelm might have caught himself in the corner. Shockwave slides forward, but still being contested. Labda stuck in the corner now, trying to get out with his Deadeye. But Ziad has finally fallen. The biggest target to topple for Virtus.pro, but they're losing players left and right. Shockwave is low. Tries to fold around that. Jaewu sees Labda looking low and tasty, but it's one out by the captain. Labda, what are you doing? Icehelm finally brings him down. With that one could have gone either way.
You had Ziad like right at the door on the ball. Just another second or two there from Labda. I mean, that would have got real interesting. Probably a tank one-on-one as Ziad will go back there to the Hazard, as just a little bit later support ultimates here for Virtus.pro allows them to come out on top.
Alcatsia have to be happy with that. 3-4 consecutive defensive holds in that second phase of the map. Now Virtus.pro low on time to reach for the goal. Jaewu's been caught under some man coverage there. Looks like Labda trying to keep the Tracer on us as much as possible. Pulse bomb, dodge. Able to be sidestepped by Labda. Sees a railgun coming though, wants to close the gap on Shockwave, who again keeps him at arm's length. Icehelm will control the high ground. Forced to drop down. He's overextended. Oh, that hurts. Virtus.pro not able to get Gala in position to keep their spearhead in play. And that's it. Fight over.
He gets like knocked down from the high ground. Obviously didn't intend to just kind of leap over and not land on the bridge. And then he's so far away. Jagged wall from Ziad blocks any line of sight. Gala's not TPing in there, not giving up his life. Now it'll be VP with just one more shot at it.
We're going to have Kitsune rushes for both sides and a sound barrier at a very timely juncture for Kelex. Gala lets it go. Knows he needs to be the one that blinks first and makes the play. In the back line, Shockwave's looking a bit low, and somehow Icehelm has to challenge the high ground. Labda doesn't know where his assailants go. Oh my goodness!
He knows.
Jaewu tries to challenge him out. Headshot instantly, and the Deadeye is superfluous. Icehelm simply vaporized in front of him. Oh, you got to be happy with a result like that if you're Alcatsia, Matt.
It's insane to watch Labda play, and remember, like, he was never like a hit scan player. Like, he was, obviously they had courts when they were a duo, so no reason to. But I mean, being able to play that Cassidy. And VP, they're fortunate. I mean, their point A was really good at this moment, being able to take the first point, right? Fighting for that high ground, pushing them into server, getting control. Alcatia really fought back into the game here in this shuttle part. It didn't look good at the start, right? But then once they got control over that top ship area, they were great on D.
Ziad showing he's more than competent to handle this mirror. Looking very, very good on the hazard. And most importantly, it was really hard to kill in that second phase of the map. Credit to Landon and Kellex for keeping him standing.
Little Ash action here for Shockwave on defense. So be able to kind of control some of that high ground, right? The constant pressure with the dynamites on players like Ziad on the hazard who wants to dive on in. So does become a little bit easier of a target, right? But there's no like a tracer on the other side of things. You're not really worried about that.
Definitely feels like a more defensive option. As Alcatia played that low ground, highly susceptible to those dynamites. Bob is very disruptive if he can connect. But Alcatia now have a pretty clear line of sight to their goal on this map.
And it'll be Gala playing Ana here on defense as well. So going to have the ability for those bios, kind of force Suzus maybe out of Landon. TP comes through, Coach Gun knocks everybody down.
Yeah, but also knocks Shockwave down. He's forced to give up the high ground, and Gala didn't quite get the memo. He's not able to fall back at the same tempo. And Shockwave eventually is picked up anyway by Ziad's second wave push.
Well, you see Ice Gnome actually down there by the payload. And, like, how is he able to get back up to the rest of the team, right? They just TP directly above him, and then he's left in a difficult spot, right? Like, he's like, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to make it back to the rest of the team to help, like, kind of peel. So I have to stay in here, fight over the payload. And it's just like him and Kellex really there at the time. And Kellex able to put some damage down, dance long enough to just keep him occupied.
So far, the Ashes looked like a bit of a problem. Not exactly the solution. Once again, Shockwave's the first pick here. He's got to start to question whether that hero is the one that's going to give him the most equity. Because frankly, he's barely played the game on this defense side.
Yeah, he's going to go back to the Sojourn right away as Fixa going to have to use the TP just to stay live. Ziad coming right at him. An even faster point A take here from Alcatia. Ice Gnome's going to drop here. He's got Fixa there working with him. This is so risky, though.
God, it's not where you want to be fighting a Cassidy. Just chaining those headshots together. It's beautiful work for Labda. But again, he gets exactly the fight he wants. Everyone's playing with his optimal range on the ground. And it's easy pickings.
So you will have the Nano here coming up. You actually lose Shockwave towards the end of this. You'd see it in the picture-in-picture down at the bottom. So Shockwave going to be out for a few seconds here once we get back into game. But you will have the Nano. Could be for, like, whether it be Ice Gnome, damage reduction, or Jwoo. We've seen them use it on both the players at times. It'll be Ice Gnome to get the benefits of it.
Gamble comes in. Looks like shrugged off pretty easily, of course. It could be answered by a Suzu. Deadeye being held onto by Labda. It was a gamble.
I mean, it is impressive he even lived through that. I mean, he had the Deadeye. He had with a pulse bomb, sound barrier. He was holding it through all.
Virtus.pro, if they get a stop here, Matt, they can chain them together, but it doesn't look like that's going to be a possibility. Jwoo trying to stay safe in these moments while waiting for the respawns of his teammates. I mean, VP, they're absolutely blown out in this second phase.
That is an ugly defense from VP in the shuttle phase, right? I mean, you still have Shockwave here behind. It looks like he's going to end up getting staggered. You had Fix a TP to him, try and get on top of the shuttle, so now you've lost both of them.
Whatever VP were trying to achieve by taking us to Gibraltar, it definitely hasn't played out the way that they drew it up. Now you're starting to get concerns. Sleep on Ziad. Unlikely control. Oh my goodness, he just got 2 kills while holding right support. That is unreal. The backline just served themselves out to him on a silver platter. Now Alcatia says, well, I better just tuck in. Here's the wall. Checkmate a little bit low, but things are going so well for Alcatia. The dominoes are starting to fall for VP. Ice Gnome is too low to be diving like that, but he has no other choice, no option. Kellex at least trades. Shockwave down. Malga makes an appearance. Ziad's trying to finish the round off here. Fixa has to throw himself at the card. There's just no other option. Shrugs off the pulse bomb. Shoulder charge. Thanks for coming. We'll see you in map 3.
They are rolling through VP right now. And if you're VP, you take us to Gibraltar, you get rid of Diva, you force him onto a hazard, and that's the result. Hey, what's your next option? I mean, you got to take us to a map and ban the sim. That's the logical step here, but it just seems like Alcatia a step ahead at every turn.
Gibraltar can go two very different ways depending on how well defenders are able to regroup in that second phase of the map. Like, get that shuttle control. If they can stagger, get their respawns coming back in. We saw Alcatia able to get 4 or so fights. It all came down to keeping Ziad in the game, and Icedom was far too easy to crack. Tough stuff here for Virtus.pro now. Last chance saloon here at our mid-season championship. They'll have the pick of map 3 right after this.
Still looking for the ultimate AI tool? Hailuo AI takes your AI experience to the next level. Just type your idea and click generate. Your imagination will come to life in seconds. Whatever you imagine, we bring it to the screen. No skills needed, no effort, no budget. Sign up for free and try it now.
I think so, yeah.
Easy match. You're gonna pop off, Labda.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell the camera, I'm gonna pop off.
I'm gonna pop off.
All right, Labda, best of luck. Thank you so much. Good luck, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know you think me wrong, but I can change who I'll be. That'll make you happy. That'll make it. If that'll make it. Wanna get lost in this moment, long enough that we lose focus. Wanna feel your breath upon me.
It's an iconic EMEA matchup in a second quarter final of the day, and it's one that is playing out in a familiar fashion.
Yeah.
Virtus Pro, Matt, are digging their hands into the cliffside. Oblivion waits below them, and OWCS are poised to stomp on their hands.
Yeah, it feels like we've seen this story before. VP, one more map at their disposal to be able to pick, and we know the crowd wants to win. I mean, we were talking. It looks like you're at like a soccer
football game, man.
Football. Yeah, football.
We're in EMEA now.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching those flags fly, it's a little bit different. Big shout out to the crowd here in the STC Esports Arena, and they have absolutely gotten behind this OWCS team. New Junk City.
You lose
last chance for VP to choose a map in this series.
I mean, obviously you have no choice, but you lose this if you're VP. I mean, they're just better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you get a sim ban here on a rush style match. OWCS, they get rid of the Ram, right? So Diva, Hazard, Orisa in play. Don't believe we saw a sub on the stage. See when we get into the lobby, but so that would lead you to believe that Ice Gnome's still in.
I think seeing Ice Gnome still in makes you wonder why. Because, I mean, again, like the ban, I think, of the Ramatra forces them to keep him in. Yeah, because that was with the Solar would come in and play that or Orisa, which is reasonable on this map. They think, okay, well, we need to just commit ourselves to the Hazard game plan. That is not the case for Ziad. He now is able to go back on that Ramatra, should he choose to do so. Or the Diva even, yes.
Yeah, I think the Diva, right, it opens it up. It was gone on Gibraltar. Now you can bring it in here. Orisa can bother Hazard at times as well, so we'll see. I know if Ziad kind of falls back to potentially there, but it'll be the Diva here for Ziad. Probably, his most standout hero here during stage 2.
And I think it's a little bit harder to ignore the Hazard as opposed to Ramatra, perhaps, in terms of your style. But OWCS, like we said at the start of the game, they just stick checkmate on the Tracer. Quite happy with that. Which does mean that the Sojourns headline this matchup, and Kellex is spotted up to the left there, looking a little bit low, a little bit delectable. The Labs able to trade back, and man, these rails are hitting the perfect targets. Both supports down for Virtus Pro. And in the longer fight, they will suffer greatly. Jaywo's got nothing to do here, folks. He has confused Travolta.
Well, Checkmate and Labda are really low. They're searching for health packs here while Ziad actually gets the cap, as Jaywu was thinking about hunting some of those players down, actually making a play here for Checkmate, but wasn't able to track him down, wasn't able to find him, and able to get rid of him when he was dangerously low.
That's the plan, of course, for Checkmate. Now that OWCS control the point, he will play coverage on Jaywu whenever possible. Follow him across the map. Disrupt the shot eaten up there by Ziad. Is able to avoid the slash damage from Ice Gnome as well. The very nimble OWCS composition. Wants to keep the Hazard at arm's length whenever possible. Slash in dive on Lambda. Looks like a Suzu had to be drawn out of Landon to keep them standing. And now it's about to Sojourn hits. And Lambda delivers yet again. This guy is indomitable. Another three-piece. And Virtus Pro tried to focus him, Matt. They tried to dive him. They just couldn't get rid of him.
We saw that clip when he was talking with Danny outside. He said it is going to be an easy 3-0. And at least right now, looks like no lies detected from Labda into that interview. Man, they are this will be a really dominant first point here for OWCS. They probably just need one more fight.
Ice Gnome again. The plan still has to be force this mobility out of Lab to go after the Sojourn, take him out of the fight. It hasn't worked well, but it's not exactly a plan B here, Matt. 99 in overtime we are. Lab to here able to peer over the top of that jagged wall, which fell a little bit too low to cut him off that sight line, and he hasn't had to do it all this fight. He's been able to relax for one.
Yeah, the wall was supposed to hit, so the vertical portion blocks the line of sight for Labda and forces him down. But it actually just kind of hits the lower lip and then gets stuck and yoink down. So not able to block that sight line there with that jagged wall. Allows Labda to free fire from up above, allows OWCS to take our first flash point, and they have an easy rotation to the next.
Yeah, sound barriers for both sides in this engagement, so a little bit more of a fair fight.
Overclock for Shockwave, though, to rip a lot of that off.
Yeah, but OWCS have this causeway control first. It really favors Labda, especially these disruptor shots going low. Ziad's going to duck out of the fight here briefly. Shockwave has his. And then, Landon Probably doesn't expect Shockwave to drop down nearly as quickly.
Do you beat here? Oh, they do.
Okay, they're going to go for it. What can Ziad do in the meantime? There's a beat coming out from VP in response, so this feels a little bit awkward for Alcatsia now. Checkmate wraps around, gets a bit of damage down on Gala, but needs to finish the job adequately. He's going to switch step away. Shockwave, comfortable spot. Ziad was able to remech throughout this fight, but Alcatsia are spread pretty thin right now.
They've got Landon back as well, right? So they're back at full strength.
Jabu wins a Tracer battle. Alcatsia, again, no reason not to try and take the point here first. Stall it out if they feel like they're going to lose the fight, get some free percentage. Ziad at least is threatening that, but he might have to back out now.
Yeah, and I mean, Jawu, that's going to be 2 kills for him. That's going to get a DMAC here on Ziad as well. They should give a fight.
Oh, Landon! Oh,
wait, hold on. He's still up.
Checkmate from long range is able to finish the job. That's just how low Shockwave went. Landon takes an audacious challenge and is able to win it out for Alcatsia.
There's no way Landon rushes here, right? I know. I mean, yeah, he's so far behind now. Ziad not able to get back in mech. I was like, Ziad's able to get back in mech. Maybe you consider trying to fight and challenge it, but wild plays from the Kiri on Alcatsia. But it'll be VP getting control of this point first.
Alcatsia need to chill now. They realize the opening that Landon created and weren't really able to capitalize off of it adequately as Fixer found 2 kills. So again, back to coverage. Checkmate looking for Jawu constantly. Shots coming in, likely Kunai one's off from the side, forces Checkmate to reposition now. He sees the backline. Sees Fixer floating as a pulse opportunity. Here he wants to make sure it's certain. He waited for the slide to come out. Now recalls away though. Got a little bit low for his liking. Look how much damage. Throw a sustaining. Pulse didn't connect. That could have gone either way, Matt, but Checkmate, well, he's nimble enough to step away from the blast radius, and Alcad have the point.
It looked like he was about to blink right into it there. Had to sidestep it for a second as he tries to just like flick and throw it on Ice Dome as he like travels over his head. But you see the pressure there from that off angle, taking like a little bit of a route over to the high ground, and then putting pressure on the Shockwave, Gala, and Fixa, doubling back towards the point there for Checkmate. Opens up so much space for the rest of the team to go in, take the point and high ground.
Ziad has a second mech opportunity now with that ultimate developed. Lapta, overclocked, he's going to shut the door in Virtus Pro's face, and losing Ice Dome there is it's not allowed. There's no way to have any fighting force in this fight. Okay, self-destruct here for Ziad. Okay, a little bit a little bit messy. The fact that he gets Shockwave off the backside, though, is just some extra value. And Alcatsia now can really stretch this fight. Virtus Pro are going to start to get desperate here, Matt. They're running out of time.
Well, you do end up, so Ziad will be coming off a spawn. You do have sound barrier here to be able to fight this, though. It'll be Ice Dome using the downpour. I don't think it connects with anybody.
No, sound barrier now comes out, and Ice Dome realizes he's a little bit too far forward for his liking, but it's a beat from Fixer. It comes later. This pulse, another missed one. Shockwave didn't have his slide forced out earlier on, but he was very low after that exchange. Good healing, but Ziad chases him down. He's going to have to give up his mech, though, in order to get that sojourn. And Alcatsia can't afford to give the point up. This is going to be messy, but they don't have the numbers to maintain control here. Landon's low. Kitsune Rush will have to wait for the next flashpoint.
MVP gets fortunate there because we are on board with Checkmate, and he's kind of hunting down Shockwave. It's been a matchup that we've been watching throughout this one, and Shockwave actually doesn't get any benefits of that sound barrier. We got another fast fight here on the rotation, though. You have Ice Dome stuck here as well.
They caught them midway. Ice Dome, of course, with that burst damage out of nowhere, is able to find Checkmate, but he knew he'd be trading at best there. So another 10 seconds before that next flashpoint is active. Off to the refinery we go.
So it'll be high ground control here early for Alcatsia. We're going to have another, they've actually kind of lined up these rushes, both Landon and Gala, to be able to match each other every single time.
Yeah, and they echo. Those voice lines come out at the same time. But Ice Dome struggles, able to jump back. Gala desperately trying to keep him standing, even as Suzu committed. Checkmate realizes he's not going to get that kill. Elsewhere, Jawu more successful on his Tracer dive. Picks Labda out of the mix, and now VP have a chance to get in. Ziad hoping just to try and, I don't know, project some threats here. Virtus Pro knew full well they're at a distinct advantage now. A remake there for Ziad. Going to be pretty low. It's going to be a downpour thrown in, and it did catch Landon. He's got nowhere to go here. Oh, the defense matrix is perfect from Ziad. Keeps Landon in the game. That is ridiculous. And still he's got his mech. Landon trying to pay it forward, but now Ziad will be knocked out of the suit. Labda low on the high ground. Sound barrier comes in late. Ziad is still bunny blastering away. So Akatia don't exactly have that same level of chill pressure now.
Yeah, but they have control of the point. They have control of the point. They're going to get up to like about 60% here. Then they lose the yacht here with a headshot from Gala. Kellex ends up using the beat. The beat's going to get them about another 20% or so.
Yeah, and they're happy enough with this because those beats came pretty much in sequence. Gala will be ahead on the Kitsune Rush metric, but that is a healthy lead for Refinery as far as Alcatia are concerned.
Yeah, and I think if you're Alcatia, right, 72%, you probably need a fight to flip it, and then there's going to be one more fight after that. If you can like withstand Gala using this Kitsune Rush, you know, you might end up in a situation where this point is tied, but you come back with a huge advantage in terms of ultimates in a fight that ultimately is going to decide it.
The smug face is what does it for me. That is ridiculous. Shockwave, he's playing pretty safe. He knows Lapter's going to be hunting for him right now, but he's got an overclock, and Kellex flattened. Fixer tunes in at just the right moment. He and Shockwave on the same wavelength. That's a Lucio gone. This will get Virtus Pro now back to even. And a belated swift step away gets Landon out of trouble, but Shockwave is going to continue to ask the question. Will you offer me a free kill?
Now it'll be VP taking the lead like I talked about. The bad part here for Alcatia is they don't actually force that rush. They're going to be the first team to use it.
A double back here from Checkmate. He did take a hit initially, but now he's in. Disrupt the shot at the back of the point, trying to dance with Fixer. Ziad and Checkmate locked in to take that Lucio down. That was a clean fight for Alcatia.
So they will get the flip. It had to be both rushes used there, pulse bombs from both sides. So we'll see. Alcatia looked like they pushed up there. Jaywu, I believe, is still behind them. So Jaywu should be able to get a touch.
Oh, no. We just saw him TP across there. He's with the main body of the team. Recalls, but did at least get overtime active. Beats coming up here for Kellex and Fixer in this fight. Those are the key ultimates to look out for. Outside of that, it's good old-fashioned, honest Overwatch. Checkmate has the Mega. Jaywu can't take it, but he has a healer by his side. Ziad getting close to a remake opportunity, and Kellex is low, but knows been able to find him. He has a beat. He's built it before Fixer. Ice Storm goes low. Forced to drop to the low ground now. Spike Guard deployed briefly, but Shockwave is felled first. Labda strikes at the heart of Virtus Pro, and now it's all his for the taking. And Ice Storm topple, and Alcatia get their second flashpoint.
One flashpoint away from setting themselves up in the semis. A chance to go to a final here in Riyadh. Battle against Twisted Minds. That would be pretty wild up there in that crowd. Opening things up for Alcatia. Ziad will have this self-destruct. We see him play really aggressive when he has this, right? He knows he's going to most likely get a second life. So we'll see how deep he decides to go. Trying to make a play for Fixa or Shockwave. Those have been his targets.
He knows, though, he needs to be able to remech in a relatively safe spot. So he'll have to start doubling back as soon as he realizes he's going to be knocked out. Big ultimate here. Sound barrier comes in. Fixer's able to deploy it. Labda backs up. This is an unanswered beat. Alcatia are going to have to wait it out, but there's that self-destruct from Ziad. Back in, Mech should be fine, and Fixer's down to the pulse. Jaywu's got nothing to do. Caught on the outside, looking in, goes for a recall, but it's going to be a swift step away by Landon, and Alcatia start with point control, poised to take the series.
Yeah, and the sound barrier comes through from VP, and Alcatia back up, but Zion is so far forward, and he's able to just kind of contest the point, use his self-destruct, to not allow VP to take the point. It's also the overclock that rips a lot of that overshield, the overhealth away from players on VP.
Shockwave with an overclock. This is pretty preemptive. A lot of Alcatia now just scrambling to get back. Keeping Ziad and Mech is paramount, and he's going to be knocked out. Virtus Pro see an opportunity now just to knock it into Body Blaster form, and Ziad has nothing to say. The rest of Alcatia realize they're in a power trough as it is. Forcing ultimates would be better. We'll have to just accept turning around to fight another day.
And look, the supports on Alcatia are amazing, but when Ziad is that low, there's an overclock, everybody flying around the corner. No amount of Kiri Pocket is going to be able to keep Ziad up through that. So a rare instance, it seems like Alcatia gets caught off guard there.
Ziad's again in the mix and ready to go once more. Pressuring the backline. Jaywu traded for Kellex here. No Tracer up for Virtus Pro. Ice Storm a little bit low. He's going to need some help, but Gala's going to struggle through to Kitsune Rush down, but he goes low. It's Gala out of the picture. Alcatia are back, and they mean business. And it just so happens that business today is pretty good. They'll have to flip. Now the goal in their sights.
It's wild while we're watching Ziad at the beginning of these fights, right? It looks like he just literally flies at them, and then just like, all right, let's just start fighting. And able to just kind of use that flight to get back towards his teammates. It's great use of the defense matrix here. You lose Shockwave towards the end. And dude, I mean, you have a huge support advantage here for Alcatia and a fantastic spot to close out this series.
95 and counting. It is last chance saloon for Virtus Pro.
Oh, he got him on the cross.
Down! The Great White North descends on the desert sands and is repelled by the fiery spirit of Alcatia, advancing to the semifinals.
And we swap to that free cam of the point to see if anybody gets a touch from Labda's POV, but Labda with the overclock, actually with a headshot onto the Tracer, crossing over towards that side of the map, not able to get there to get a touch. And this team as dominant as usual in EMEA. I think you can see the gap they put between themselves and VP.
About a clean as cold a shot as you could ask for. Alcatia knew they had the measure of Virtus Pro coming into this game. They had to have been pleased to have an opponent they felt like they had the better of coming into this game. And now they've secured a fateful matchup, a rematch for the history books in that semi-final. Twisted Minds and Alcatia.
And we're going to have an EMEA team in the finals. I mean, you think about just kind of the progression of OWCS over the last few years, right? Last year's EWC, obviously, I know Crazy Raccoon Falcon, a lot like we have, a lot of different times, right? They make long runs in those events. Nightmare made a long run when we were at the Champions Clash, and now you get EMEA will be represented in a finals here. Things just, all these regions, right, with this consistent play, making themselves better here on this international stage.
Coach Smash already with some choice words for his players, already thinking about the next step, but right now, all eyes are on Alcatia as we head to the stage. Fancy has an interview with us, but none other than the GOATs.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Ziad from Alcatia is with me on stage after a statement performance against their opponents. They head on to face Twisted Minds in the semifinals, but for now, there's so many questions that I want to talk to you about, Ziad. First, you jumped in with this roster and you guys just suddenly stopped losing every single match as their solo tank. How did you fare with them as their solo tank throughout this entire season? زياد، أنت من أول ما دخلت مع الروستر هذا قدرت إنك تفوز كل المباريات بعدها كسولو تانك. فعلمنا وش الخطوات اللي أنت مريت فيها عشان تختلط كويس مع الفريق هذا.
طبعا الحمد لله على فوزنا اليوم. طبعا هذا فضل الله ثم فضل المدرب جنكبك ثم الروستر طبعا. طبعا الحمد لله التيم وثقوا فيني اني سولو تانك والحمد لله يعني قدرت اثبت نفسي كسولو تانك.
Ziad is saying that the main thing, I want to thank the coach for having faith in me and the roster as well for being able to help me grow and get into this roster. As you guys can see, we have the best performance so far. So Ziad, next match, you guys are facing Twisted Minds. How do you think you're going to do in this match?
طبعا المباراة ابدا ما بتكون سهلة. طبعا لعبنا ضدهم بالجراند فاينل WCS انتهت 4-3 4-2. دائما توستد مايندز يكونون صعبين بس باذن الله نكون قادرين يعني.
Ziad is saying that they faced Twisted Minds already a few weeks ago and they were able to win against them, but it was a hard match, so we're going to try to make our best for this one. Ziad, now that you won an elimination match, you get to crush your opponent's key. دامك الآن فزت المباراة هذه ومباراة خروج مغلوب معناته انك تقدر تكسر المفتاح. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go to the key crushing one more time for Alcatia as they head into the semifinals, locking the top 4 at the Esport World Cup. And Ziad will get to crush their opponent's key. One more Saudi team heading to the semifinals. We'll let Ziad enjoy this moment. And this marks the end journey for Virtus Pro at the Esports World Cup for Overwatch 2. And now we're heading to Sophia for the exit interview.
Thank you so much, Fancy. I do have Ice Clone from Virtus Pro standing by for a quick chat after this. You had to go up against the source problem, the cause of everyone's woes and sorrows with that Symmetra composition. Now, we did see you playing Symmetra, surprisingly, this event as well. Was taking the mirror against them, against the Origins, ever an option for you guys when going up against them?
I don't think so, because that team was the only team we couldn't beat in scrims with Symmetra on that map. So that's why we decided not to play that map this time.
So when we saw you earlier in the group stages on Symmetra, was that something you pitched? You're like, hey, actually, I'm like a Symmetra scrim god, and no one knew about that. Let me try it.
I mean, I was just playing a lot of sim and ranked, and then like I can speak a lot of English, you know. So and Jay kind of struggles with that. That's why like we were just like losing some scrim, like just the usual, you know, like a day in a life. And then we were just like, okay, I'm just gonna play sim one map, you know. Let's just try this. We're like playing in Crazy Raccoon or something. And then like we won that map, and that's how that kind of started.
I love it though. It's great to see you come on that stage. You're a pocket pick. We see you on that hazard, and we saw you on the sim. Everyone was surprised. So it's really cool to see those different looks. I know this was your first EWC, your first international event as a whole. What's the experience been like for you?
I think the experience has been really nice for us. Thank you for all the fans as well that have been cheering for us. I appreciate it a lot.
That's right. There was a lot to cheer for. You guys really turned it up. You made it to the playoffs. There is so much to be proud of, and we're all so excited to see more from you and VP in the future. Thank you so much for joining me. We're now heading back to the studio with Pocket and the guys.
Thank you, Zoe. And sadly, my Virtus Pro squad is packing up and going back to the team house in Serbia. But our squad here continues to power through with another 3-0. We got Jake and Johnny to break it all down. What did we see from Ziad crew?
I mean, this was a dominant performance by OWCS. A really tough win condition from Virtus Pro here. Like, where do you find kind of like a superior composition here? OWCS, this has been the meta for them, playing the Symmetra and Lambda, which is an amazing hit scan performance here, Jake.
Ferocious performance from Lambda. I also want to highlight Landon, especially on the Batiste, man. This guy is a shooter on the Batiste. You've got that extra DPS on the server when he's on the BAP. And, you know, a lot of the players on this team have had chances on other squads, but really they're coming into their own together under Coach Junkbuck. And I feel like this is one of those teams that I honestly expect OWCS to make it through to the finals. I think they're the premier sim team.
You think they're going to the finals? That means they would have to take out Twisted Minds in the next round. And Johnny, I'm looking at this arena. What was louder, our first match with Twisted Minds fans or what we just witnessed?
I mean, I'm just looking forward to the actual game, Bucket, because I know the entire arena is going to be packed with both sides field, rooting for both Twisted Minds and OWCS. The fans have been turning it up big time, and I was over there for that last halftime segment. Yeah. It is loud in there, and like I said, the energy, it feeds down into the arena. That's going to be like an actual like sports game. It's going to be incredible. Can't wait to hear the fans.
It already feels like a football pitch there in the STC arena, and it only gets louder because we are guaranteed an EMEA squad in the grand final. Twisted Minds, OWCS facing off in the next round. A big surprise for a lot of people who are just tuning in, but no surprise to Jake, who called both these matches perfectly. Jake, though, did you see Lambda point as well?